Welcome to the first video for the Informant channel. So it is currently September 12th, 2020, and I felt the need to do this. I had another video planned, but after seeing this on which you see on screen, on my Instagram feed, I wanted to share this and I wanted to talk about it. This is obviously not the video I had in mind, and this video isn't going to be much of a, I say, single topic commentary, but more of a multi-news commentary channel, kind of like a Tim Pool-esque kind of feel to it, trying to just go through the news headlines and then give my 2 cents on things. That being said, I'm not as politically centrist as Tim Pool, but he has definitely come a long way from when I first started keeping an eye on his videos, I should say. But with that being said, this is obviously something that's very important to me. I was a teenager when the events of September 11th, 2001 occurred, and just like everybody says, never forget, I haven't. Anytime it gets brought up, anytime I happen to think about it, I just sometimes can't even believe. And more than the attacks, nowadays, I honestly can't believe how far our country has shifted from the day after 9/11, September 12th, 2001, as you can see articulated here on the screen. It says, "I would never ever want another 9/11, but I miss the America of 9/12. Stores ran out of flags to sell because they were being flown everywhere. People were Americans before they were upper or lower class, Jewish or Christian, Republican or Democrat. We hugged people without caring if they ate at Chick-fil-A or wore Nikes. On 9/12, what mattered more was what united us than what divided us." And it seems that we've chosen to forget the real underlying message of 9/11. And personally, I can attest to this. I mean, I had never seen anything like it the day after 9/11, September 12th. I remember, because this happened very close to home. I live now and was living then in Northern Virginia, 20 minutes from DC. My father was just outside of DC in Arlington when the plane hit the Pentagon. Now, disclaimer, I don't care what anybody's opinions are on 9/11. I don't care what anybody's opinions are as far as the wars in the Middle East go. I don't care what theories people have about 9/11. The fact of the matter is over 3,000 people died, and whatever way you look at it, it was an unspeakable tragedy that happened to this country that brought everyone together. Now, that being said, I argue the fact, initially, Americans wanted a response. That's why we had this quote-unquote war on terrorism. Americans wanted a response. Americans wanted some type of redemption, revenge, if you call it. So we're going to leave the war and politics aside, because that's not what this message is about. So obviously, where I lived, I mean, it was just, it was right in our backyard where it happened. You know, obviously it wasn't like, you know, downtown New York City where the Trade Center fell, but it was close enough for us. And, you know, yeah, I remember the flags. I remember people getting together in communities. My own neighborhood had a candlelight vigil the night of September 11th. People read poetry. People read their favorite quotes from the Founding Fathers. We prayed. My mother spoke as well. And, you know, it was just an overwhelming sense of community. and togetherness and a one America, one nation. And I remember, I mean, there was it's just unspeakable amounts of patriotism and togetherness on display. I mean, I remember we were driving down the parkway and there was a guy like parked in the grass with his truck outside of a shopping center. He had a big old school pickup truck. It was massive. He had a big giant American flag that was on the back of his truck, and he had a big giant wooden piece of plywood that painted on it in red, white, and blue saying "Honk if you love USA." And every single person, I mean, we drove by honking a horn. People were all blaring their horns. He had another flag he was waving as people were driving by. I mean, it was incredible. And I remember I was in school during the attack. I remember we went on full lockdown, and it was right in between classes, and I saw my friend who later ended up going to the Citadel after high school, but at the time I knew he was a big military guy, and he was like basically like running in the hallway to his next class, and he had like this like, I had never seen him look like this before. I grabbed him. I said, well, what's going on? And he said, we just got attacked. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? He said, just go to your next class. They'll tell you, like, you'll find out later. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the hell just happened? And we went into our classroom, and I remember my teacher was crying. Another teacher came to her door, and they spoke outside, and that teacher was in tears. And then she finally told us, and then I commend her on her resolve. She was able to explain to us what happened while keeping as much composure as possible to not scare us. But she knew that being outside of DC, there were a lot of students with parents that either worked in DC or worked at the Pentagon, and it was a very frightening situation. Nobody knew. I mean, husbands of teachers that were at our school, some of them worked in DC and worked at the Pentagon. They didn't know. They couldn't get in touch with anybody. It was a very scary moment. This was 2001. There wasn't a whole lot of cell phones floating around. So anyway, it's just incredible to see how far our country has fallen from that day. I mean, I can't believe it. You look back on it now, and you almost see a completely different country than you do now. Right now, like the smallest things will pit an entire group of people against each other. The smallest things, quote unquote microaggressions and unconscious bias and trigger words, and there's just so much that will just pit every group of people against each other. And even now with 9/11 and the remembrance of it, you still see things that are just absolutely you can't believe that they exist. And I guess here, let me pull this up. I'm kind of rambling right now because I'm looking for something. I'll put this on screen. This is one of the things that was trending yesterday on top. All buildings matter. And it's just I'm speechless. Like I can't believe people would actually say this, knowing full well exactly what we're remembering from September 11th. I mean, you can read this. I don't need to go through it. Some of you may even have Twitter and have seen it. I don't personally have Twitter, but I saw this on my Instagram. It's ironic. I don't have Facebook or Twitter, but I have Instagram. Probably probably the scummiest part of social media, arguably. But I pretty much just follow, news, like independent journalists, news outlets, and fitness stuff, and a few friends. I don't really partake too much in Instagram outside of that. But yeah, it's like, what happened? And it really makes me sad every year on September 11th. It's just been more and more divisive, and it just leaves me speechless sometimes. And I often think about Ronald Reagan in one of his speeches. He said, paraphrasing here, he said, "I often think about how quickly we would set aside our petty differences if we were faced with an alien threat from outside our world." Now, sure, he was speaking in sci-fi terms or whatever, but, 25 years later, September 11th happened, and boom, everything was out the window. All that mattered was us. And it's just very sad. It's very sad. Now, this also brings me to this. This was actually, I didn't know this, but this is Queen Elizabeth broke 600-year-old tradition after 9/11 attacks to honor America. And I'll go ahead and play a short video of it. Now, of course, this is fair use. This is on a news site. This is something that's available on YouTube. There is nothing here regarding copyrights. So, for the love of God, if you have any decency, YouTube, just let me play this at least for a minute. Still chokes me up a little bit. I don't care what your opinions are of the royal family and all that stuff. It's just, even in certain moments, people can still do decent things. So, take what you will from that. I wanted to spend the first few minutes of this segment here going over just the America I long to live in again, which is the America of September 12th, 2001. Obviously, minus the horrific attack. Obviously, I don't even think something like that could even bring us together again. The country has been so polarized and divided into far left, really just far left, and then just regular Americans who just want normalcy back in their life. I don't even think something like a coordinated attack from a world power would do anything to bring us together, because I honestly believe that any kind of coordinated attack, whether it be from Russia or China or a combination of the two, I just can't help but wonder if these far left ideologues would welcome them with open arms as if they were their saviors to save them from this horrible country that they believe that they live in. And, I find it hard to believe that, something like that would unite the country, because the people are just that insane right now. So, with that being said, there are a few other things I wanted to touch on to kind of just not really lighten the mood, but lighten the emotional mood a little bit, because obviously this is a very touchy subject. Before I do, though, there is one thing. This obviously will get copyrighted if I play it, but I would like everybody to if you are a fan of music as much as I am, I would like everybody to maybe give a listen to, let me see if okay. This is a band called Iced Earth, and this was a song they wrote shortly after 9/11, and it's called When the Eagle Cries, and it's a very good song, very emotional, but it's probably my favorite song when it comes to remembering 9/11. So I highly suggest you give that a listen. So with that being said, let's move on. All right. So Chairman Senator Ron Johnson, Republican of Wisconsin, requests Inspector General probe into wiped Mueller iPhones. Now, I was talking about this earlier with my significant other, and I was like, this is exactly what happened with Hillary Clinton and her email servers. And I'm just like, it never ends. It never ends with these people. And, I know Lindsey Graham was on Hannity discussing it and saying, like, oh, there's going to be some big news, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, that's great. Wake me up when someone is actually being, like, put on trial, when someone is actually being arrested, when someone's actually being convicted of something, like obstruction of justice or something like that. Because if that's not obstruction of justice, I don't know what is. So, anyway, Senator Ron Johnson on Friday requested that the Department of Justice Inspector General investigate the wiping of iPhones used by members of the special counsel team which ran the Russia investigation. Quote, these reports are troubling and raise concerns about record retention and transparency, Johnson wrote in a letter to the DOJ Inspector General Mike Horowitz on September 11th. Quote, therefore, I respectfully request that your office open an investigation into this matter to determine what, why, and how information was wiped, whether any wrongdoing occurred, and who these devices belong to. So these documents that were released by the Department of Justice on September 10th include a log of devices showing that multiple employees wiped their phones before the devices can be reviewed to determine if they contained government records. So Epoch Times analysis of the log shows that at least 27 and as many as 31 iPhones were wiped. Now, these phones are like miniature computers now. They can hold a ton of information on them. So this is comparable with the hard drives that were bleached by Hillary Clinton before they could be obtained by the Department of Justice. This is the thing I always go back to. If you don't have anything to hide, then just turn your shit over. If you don't have anything to hide, if you're not guilty, then just cooperate. Doing things like this make you a suspect, make you look guilty. And now two things possibly exist in this matter. A, they are guilty, and they are wiping these things, and they just believe that no one is going to be able to touch them. They just honestly believe it because they don't think people are going to care. They feel like this was the perfect time to do it because the country has so much shit going on right now that this would be swept under the rug by the mainstream media, which it is. It basically is. No one's talking about this. Everyone's talking about the wildfires and Mother Earth is angry and protests and sports protests and the post office and the election. It's like, and you sprinkle some COVID-19 stuff on top of it, and then buried underneath all of that at the bottom of the barrel is this. So, like I said, These senators, who I'm sure are well motivated and have good intentions, they're just all talk at this point. They can condemn these actions and condemn this and blast this and ridicule that and wake me up when something actually happens. Wake me up when someone is given subpoena. Well, not even that. That doesn't even mean anything anymore. I mean, subpoena doesn't even mean anything anymore. Let me know when someone's actually being charged of something, like obstruction of justice, Let me know when someone's being convicted of it. Let me know when someone's actually going to trial for this. Other than that, this is just another, like smoke. Like, it's just a smoke screen. It's like there's nothing coming from it. Speaking of wildfires, apparently 2 people have been arrested in Oregon. Oregon officials announced arrest of 2 more alleged arsonists, including criminal transient. So, Jonathan Mass, 44, of Springfield, who was pictured on the left, and Michael Gerard Bokella, 41, was pictured on the right, were arrested for arson by Oregon officials. So, Jonathan Mass, the one on the left, was arrested for allegedly starting a fire in the woods near the Frisbee Golf Course at Dexter State Recreation Area in Oregon. Excuse me, I'm sorry. MSN.com reported, a man faces accusations. He tried to start a fire in the woods near the Frisbee Golf Course at Dexter. It's basically what we just read. Firefighters responded to the scene and found passerby had quickly put out the fire. So this person obviously was trying to start a fire and was unsuccessful. This one, Michael Gerard Bokella, he is the one who is suspected of starting the fire that happened in Alameda. Yeah, he has a lengthy criminal record and was arrested for allegedly starting the Alameda fire that roared through Phoenix and Talent, Oregon this week. KVLA reported, a man faces accusations he set a fire during the Alameda fire that roared through blah, 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 blah. So this case is separate from... Oh, wait, hold on. A man faces accusations he set a fire during Alameda fire that roared through Phoenix and Talent this week. Then, quote, this case is separate from the Alameda fire exist, but the investigations have been a joint effort by the Major Assault and Death Investigation Unit. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm sure we can find this person here in the news cycle and cross-reference. Yeah, here it is. So this is Oregon Live. For Christ's sake. I swear, you can never do anything without having to get around some frickin' ad blocks. It is insane. Alright. Anyway. Here it is. Man arrested charged with arson in connection with Southern Oregon fire. This is from the Oregonian. So you can find out that this story does carry some weight. I know I was on some secondhand news site here called Resist the Mainstream. I pull these off of the limited social media that I do have. This was from Parler. So I always like to cross-reference things like this. I take a keyword inside this news article and I try and cross-reference it. And I knew I had seen this already, but I wanted to bring it up. So it looks like that these two... Because we already know that the fires in California were started by a gender reveal party lighting off fireworks. Why anybody would light off fireworks in the forest in California is beyond me. It seems like, well, it is California. I was going to say these people lack common sense. Then again, it is California. So, anyway, so that's trending in the right direction for... anybody who is against the shilling for global warming and climate change causing these fires. So right now we have 2 examples of that not being the case. The California and possibly now the Oregon fires. So last one we'll do here is, of course, sports, as I referenced earlier. NBA players kneel during a national anthem on anniversary of 9/11 faces instant backlash. Who would have thought? See the score. The NBA community remembers 9/11. Go ahead. 9/11 never forgets. We'll go ahead and skip ahead. Oh, I thought they were actually going to show the video of them kneeling. So obviously you can see here a rough look for NBA players to kneel for the national anthem on the anniversary of 9/11. David Hookstead, NBA players kneel during the national anthem on the anniversary of 9/11. They couldn't even stand to honor the heroes who sacrificed and died. It's disgusting. And honestly, I kind of have to agree. I mean, I probably wouldn't use such coarse language, though then again, I think it's in your right to be able to do so. I would just say it's disrespectful. But you see, this goes beyond the soldiers and the war effort. This is like actual Americans who serve America stateside. We're talking first responders, firefighters, police officers. I mean, we hundreds of first responders died in New York City. I mean, hundreds of them. And I guess that's the one honorable thing that Jon Stewart has done over the years is continue to push for financial support for these families and who have lost their loved ones for that. So stand strong. Everyone knows why NBA kneels. On a day we remember the lives of 2,996 lives lost, these guys kneel while a service member honors the flag with the anthem. I wish they would understand and know why. Hashtag United We Stand. Very good. Very good point. I agree. Craig McCarthy. Keep digging your own grave at NBA and Adam Silver. Letting these entitled guys take a knee on hashtag 9/11. Be ashamed losing more and more views because of the constant disrespect. I can't help but agree. I can't help but agree. Yeah, not a good look. I would say right now the NBA is taking a bigger hit than the NFL right now, even though the NFL has a laundry list of their own problems to deal with. So with that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If any of this was enjoying for you to watch, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this video if you wish, and leave comments down below so we can have some more discussions about the news. My plans for this channel is maybe to do one video a day regarding the news, trying to hit some of the top news stories of the day. I don't know if I have the work ethic and time for it as Tim Pool does, but I will do my best. I'm a full-time worker, so doing this is more of a hobby. You know, after you can only take keeping your political opinions and commentating on the news to yourself for so long, especially when you don't have social media and you wish to avoid social media at all costs. Then you just come to YouTube and you hide behind a camera. No, I'm just kidding. You go to YouTube and you make YouTube videos about it. Anyway, yeah. With that being said, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Saturday. God bless America, and I will see you all later.